So this is the code that we used in our MATLAB project. We took a couple of sounds, and starting at the top, we imported those sounds and um, some of the HRTFs and other given information from the PowerPoint slides. So first, we imported all of the things that we need to know about the file. So we have the file itself. This is the sound that we created, and we had to initialize a lot of variables in order to manipulate the sound. And this is how we got the HRTF, and we followed the array of sounds, or the array of locations and elevations to use for our project. But since we are only using one elevation, we only used one of these indexes. And then these are just the angles from which the sound is coming from. So once we load in our HRTF and have the array of sounds and have our sound imported, then we are able to actually code a index that takes in a given direction and associates it with one of these angles. And there are 25 indexes, and they're all associated with a different angle. So our code goes into depth on how it would take an inputted direction from the user and an inputted distance, and based on that number, which is -80 to 80, it would calculate an index. And once you have that index corresponding with the table, these are all the different cases, depending on whether it's coming from the left or the right, it would convert into the table, so we're able to use it. And then this sound here, the amplitude is based on the distance that was inputted from the user. So if the distance was closer, it would be louder, and so we would use this variable here, the amplitude, to determine how loud the sound, this is the first sound that will be played, how loud that sound will be. So this code, once we read in the input wave, this code here kind of calculates what the sound is going to be, what that particular sound is going to be based on the user input. So all of this too is also just taking in another variable, the direction add, which calculates the left versus right and generates the sound and puts it into the final output, and that's a empty array that we initialized at the top, and this final output now contains the new sound, the generated sound that we had. And then we're on to generating the second sound, which is the second part of our code.
Okay, so for the second sound, we first have to read in the second audio file containing that sound cue. After that, we take in the direction input from the user, one of the main two inputs. And if, for example, the ambulance is coming from behind you from the left, then the second sound, which indicates where the car should turn to yield, is going to be coming from the right and vice versa. So here, if the direction is bigger than 0, so which is if it's coming from the right, then the second sound is going to be coming from the left. And at the end, we combine those two arrays together to output one final sound, which is played here. And then we just ask the user to exit the loop and the program. So as a demo, I want to run the program right here. It's going to prompt me to choose an HRTF, which we're going to choose person 58. And then we have to input the first direction, which is the angle input. I'm going to use 7 knots. And then the distance, I'm just going to use 5, a meter level distance. And as you were able to hear, that's the output sound, which contains the first sound cue and then the second one. And I'm just going to exit the loop. And yeah, this was our code demo. Thank you.